People are mad right now, and they're wondering, what did Arc Raiders do right where other games have absolutely failed? Because Arc Raiders is doing the right thing. It's one of the biggest and most successful games out there right now. And a lot of game developers are now simply wondering what is happening in the gaming industry where this property can actually do gangbusters and actually bring in the modern gaming fan base to heal, where it is being nominated for some of the best accolades out there, Game of the Year awards. And you look at the stream numbers, it's one of the biggest games out there, consistently hitting records every weekend because gamers are enamored with this. And you can see the consistency with the growth of the game itself. And I think this is a testament to good gaming in general, but a lot of people are angry, specifically the people at Bungie who are developing a similar game, Marathon, that got ridiculed and alienated from gaming society for being a haphazard, failed, and uninteresting project. And this is kind of bringing up an interesting idea. What is the difference between these two companies? They're coming out during the same market, but one had a grossly adverse reaction from the game fan base, and Arc Raiders, which seems to be somewhat similar gameplay-wise, is getting the gracious and adulation that a lot of gamers are throwing its way because they absolutely love the game. I think it comes down to simple factors that make up the modern gaming audience today, where the gaming audience is starved for something exciting, new, and interesting, and people would say, hey, Marathon is like that, hey, Concord was like that. It would look interesting and new with different designs that I would say even more bold and flamboyant than Arc Raiders or any other game. And I think, yeah, that's reasonable to say, but I think for gamers, when it comes to Arc Raiders, it brings in something familiar, it brings in something that is nostalgic, and it does something that Marathon failed to do, which is make a good game. And this is the problem we've been seeing in the gaming world for these past few years, where a lot of developers are not really focused on making great games. And I think this is the difference that we're seeing substantiating and making a divide between all the game developers out there. What your game does matters. If it's fun, engaging, it can have all the new looks and features and styles, but if it's not a good game, gamers are simply not going to go there and buy it. And I think that's the thing that people are realizing with the modern day gaming market. If you don't know what I'm talking about Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is one of the best new games that came out recently. It dropped in October 30th, 2025. So it came out very recently. It had a beta testing that was very popular already as well. And that brought in massive interest from the gamer base, where they came in droves in its release, and the game subsequently hit records. And I think that's the thing that we've been seeing consistently with a lot of these games that are doing really well with gamers, that they bring them in with a great and successful beta test that actually draws in the audience. And I think that's the thing a lot of people are missing with this new age of gaming development, where they're making games uninteresting at beta and it's not really gonna draw in a new fan base. And I think that's the thing that we saw with Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is kind of set in a post-apocalyptic Earth overrun by killer machines called Arc. It's based in the vibrant underground city of Speranza. You can upgrade craft gear in your workshop. You can hit the surface for PVPVE fighting, which is something that's absent in a lot of games that are like this, and which is a big complaint for a lot of gamers. We're not getting that PvE type of action, that player versus enemy action. We're getting all of it here with Arc Raiders, and I think that's the thing people are seeing, where you can do solo, you can squad up, you can scavenge loot, fight robots, dodge or betray your other players, and extract their lives. Elements that are so engaging to the game player base that it's winning over the gamers. I think that's the thing I love about this game itself. It just brings a new dynamic. It has something familiar as well, and the gameplay is absolutely fun and interesting. And I think this is the thing that is hooking people with this game, where it has evolving maps, has weather, enemies changing their movement and runs. You have deep crafting, skill trees, survivability, mobility, conditioning branches. It has everything that you want to see from an extraction type of shooter. And I think that is the thing people love, especially the arsenal. You have insane SMGs, railguns, traps, you have zip lines, you have all these elements that are really engaging and interesting for game players. And I think that is the thing people are loving about some of the things. You have free kits, and a lot of things are not overbearing or expensive, and that's why the reviews are kind of in its favor. It's crushing it on Steam as very positive, over 89.6% with 72,000 reviews. It's doing amazing, over 94 on OpenCritic, and this is just a testament of why this game is a smash hit. And you can just look at the polishness of the game itself, and I think that's the main thing that is winning over gamers, is how polished this game is, where it's not dependent on all the new modern features of NVIDIA, with the Unreal Engine 5. It removes all the things that gamers find annoying with an Unreal Engine 5 game, where you have all the shading, the nanite engines, and all this other stuff that really don't bring anything. They remove that and they just focus on having a high FPS, and that is what's initially winning over the gamers, because it's smooth, there's not too much crashes, and it works very well. A polished game at launch is always going to be in the favor of the game player, and I think that help ease people into actually enjoying this game. And I think that's the thing that leads people to actually embrace and enjoy the magic of the game, where you can get lost in the craziness of the game. And I think that tension and magic that you see with the proximity chat, where it's interesting dynamic where you can talk to other people within the field of play, I think that is bringing in a lot of people that are enjoying this game. And I think that tension is built through these elements that they put in stack for the game. And I think the accessibility is really good too. It's very easy to actually get into the game. There's free loadouts for noobs. It extracts safely to still gain XP. Skill trees are amazing. This is just the basic things that you want to see in a game that is excellent. And you can compare it to a game like Concord, where none of that is available. It's just a basic shooter type of a PvP game. It's not really what we want to see. And I think that's what probably led to the failure of Concord. It had the basic elements. It didn't really make anything new or unique. It tried to look odd and unique, but that's not enough. You have to have unique gameplay that's interesting and doing other dynamics other than just having this PvP shooter. And plus, it's a game where you have to pay to play, where you actually have to pay $40 to even have the game. I think when you compare it to other games like Valorant, Overwatch, where it's free to play, that is just a losing strategy that just initially pushed out so much people. And I think this comes down to why a lot of gamers are enjoying Arc Raiders, because it has all the elements that I just mentioned, absent in so much other games, that where you can just get into it and play, have fun. I think Marvel Rivals is another game like that. You can get into it, play it, have fun. But I think Arc Raiders is more in depth. It has the skill trees and the things that you want to see in these type of games to build off of and have an addictive attachment to the game. And I think that's the thing that is just sorely absent in a lot of titles. I think was sorely absent in the beta for Marathon. And I think it comes down to the people that are developing the game. You look at Marathon, its first beta, it's not fully released right now, but its first beta came out to disastrous results, where gamers are just complaining about this game. Like, it wasn't as fun, it wasn't dynamic, it was the standard shooter PvP, didn't really bring anything new. It had a bad loop, it had fetch quests, it was focused on these kits that weren't that interesting, it had no proximity chat, the hero abilities suck. It just had all the elements that we're just tired of seeing in these PvP shooters. And I think that is the thing that is differentiating Arc Raiders from all these other titles, where this is just copying other shooters, not bringing anything new, has a unique design in general. But I think when you look at the modern day issues of gaming, this looks like a modern day game that was made by a community, made by people that don't love gaming. And I think that's the thing people notice with the overall development process for this game, where it was more focused on identity politics, bringing in these ideas and concepts about the modern progressive world that they want to see reflected in video games. It came with an agenda. And I think that's the thing that we see with a lot of video games nowadays. They're being built around agendas rather than actually having fun and gameplay. And I think that's the thing that is not the same with Arc Raiders. I know some people complained about some of the trailers and commercials. They felt like this was going to be a modern game because, of course, any modern game, you have to focus on a strong black woman. So that's what we saw in the trailers. But that is just external. They has had this in the trailer. That's not really the focus. You can do whatever you want within the game itself. And I think that is the thing that is a winner for gamers, where, okay, you can have this outside externally, but we still just want a core game that's fun and accessible. And I think that's what Arc Raiders was. And it shows in the gameplay, where you can have all these elements outside of it and it doesn't really matter because the gameplay is intoxicating, it's fun, and it's engaging. And I think that's the thing people love about Arc Raiders, where it's just a good game first. And I think with Marathon, it wasn't really aiming to be a good game first. It wanted to be an agenda first that's focused on pushing out ideas. And I think you saw this with the character designs. The character designs were plainly made in the modern day fashion, non-gender, non-binary focus, where we have these elements that just kind of push off the gamer because we see so much terrible games doing the same thing. And I think that's the thing people saw and identify with. They see a bad game that they just want to avoid. I think the modern game is filled with bad games that look hideous to look at. And I think that's the thing that gamers identify with Marathon. It looks like one of those games. I think Arc Raiders, even though it had some trailers with some of those elements, but once you play it, it's just, oh, this is just a fun game or whatever. I don't care about any of that. And I think gamers are willing to look past things if the game is great. And I think Arc Raiders is already great, so it doesn't have those elements really, so it already has the advantage and it's delivering on its promise, where games like Concord didn't do any of that. They made a terrible game, focused on agenda and politics, and they failed to deliver what the gamers actually want from a game. And I think that is the thing that we're seeing right now within the gaming industry, where people are realizing if you want to do something right, you got to make something great first. And I think Arc Raiders is that game. They made a great game first, and the gamers came and accepted what was offered, and now we have a successful franchise from a growing developer. But that is just my 2 cents on the situation. Maybe you disagree with me. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is Wagner Knows Why.